The restoration of the Buchanan house consumed every minute of my day. Rotted floorboards, crumbling plaster, and a 100-year-old staircase that fought me with every splinter. My muscles ache in that satisfying way that only comes from work well done. My phone buzzes on the coffee table. I ignored it at first, reaching instead for the glass of Cabernet I poured 10 minutes ago. The burgundy liquid catches the last golden rays of sunset through my Craftsman windows. The phone buzzes again, and again. I take a long sip and reach for it, thumbing through notifications. Another day, another dozen emails from contractors and clients. Then I see it. My thumb freezes mid-scroll. A photo of my sister Nyla draped in white satin, her face glowing beneath a delicate veil. The caption below reads, "Final fitting for the big day. Nyla and Travis, forever after." My breath catches. Wedding. What wedding? I swipe frantically through my feed. Photos flood my screen, my cousin Marissa showcasing bridesmaid dresses, my Aunt Rosa arranging flower samples, my mother's hands holding embossed invitation samples. An invitation I never received. I click on the latest image. Comments cascade beneath it. "Can't wait to celebrate with you next month. The venue looks stunning. So blessed to be part of your special day." 57 comments. Names of relatives, friends, distant cousins I haven't seen since high school graduation. Everyone's going. Everyone but me. My phone rings, startling me. My mother's name flashes on screen. Cynthia Alvarez. Perfect timing. I answer, pressing the phone to my ear. "Mom." "Deborah, honey." Her voice sounds measured, too careful. "I was just thinking about you. How's work?" My free hand curls into a fist. "Work is fine. I just saw Nyla's wedding dress on Instagram." The silence stretches for 3 heartbeats. "Oh," she clears her throat. "I was going to call you about that." My knuckles whiten around the phone. My own sister's wedding? Was my invitation lost? "Deborah." Her tone shifts, that familiar note of disapproval slipping in. "Don't make this about you. You know how sensitive Nyla is." "Sensitive? What does that have to do with—" "You're always so busy with your career. Nyla felt you wouldn't make time anyway." The room suddenly feels colder. I stand, moving to the window, where the Denver skyline glitters in the distance. "So you all just decided not to invite me? To my sister's wedding?" "Travis thinks family is important," she says, as if that explains everything. "And I'm not family?" The words scrape my throat. "Of course you are. But you know how things have been. After you criticized her cafe, I co-signed her loan. $22,000 that I paid back after she abandoned the business. She had the children to think about." My mother's voice hardens. "Single motherhood isn't easy, Deborah." I press my forehead against the cool glass of the window. Old memories surface. Nyla at 10 breaking grandma's vase. Me taking the blame. Nyla at 17 sneaking out. Me covering for her. Me at 16 announcing my engineering scholarship. Mom's dismissive. "Of course you got it, you're the responsible one." The responsible one. Always. "I haven't been forgotten, Mom," I whisper. "I've been erased." "Now you're being dramatic." She sighs, the sound of a woman burdened by an unreasonable child. "We can talk about this later. I need to go help Nyla with the seating charts." The call ends. I stare at my phone, watching as new wedding posts appear. Nyla twirling in her dress. Travis and his groomsmen sampling cakes. My parents beaming beside the happy couple. A family portrait without me. My phone buzzes with texts from Jenna. "Did you see? Call me." Marcus from work. "Just saw your sister's wedding stuff, what the hell?" Mrs. Henderson next door. "Dear, are you aware of what's happening with your family?" Even the people on the periphery of my life noticed my exclusion. I sink back into my chair, the weight of 35 years pressing down on me. I've built my career restoring historical treasures, bringing beauty back to forgotten places. But I can't restore my place in this family. The realization washes over me like cold water. All these years I've been the fixer, the responsible one, the steady hand. I've co-signed loans, babysat on demand, listened to midnight breakdowns. I've shown up when no one else would, and this is my reward. Erasure. My phone buzzes again. I silence it without looking and set it face down on the table. From my window, I can see the mountains west of Denver, their peaks burnished copper in the fading light. Beyond them lies Boulder, where my parents still live in the Victorian house where we grew up. Where Nyla returned with her 2 children after Eric left her. where they're planning a wedding without me, something shifts inside my chest. Not the hot flush of anger or the sting of hurt, but something cooler, more deliberate. A quiet certainty. This time, I whisper to the empty room, I won't fix what they've broken. I pick up my phone and open Instagram again. With methodical precision, I unfollow my sister, then my mother, my father, my cousins. Each tap of my finger feels like setting down a burden I've carried too long. This is not an act of revenge, it's a decision, a boundary. The last golden light fades from my windows, plunging my living room into shadow. I don't move to turn on lamps. Instead, I sit in the gathering darkness, feeling lighter than I have in years. For the first time in my life, I'm not rushing to mend the family's broken pieces, and the silence that follows feels like freedom. My tires crunch over the gravel driveway of my parents' Victorian home in Boulder. The morning sun glints off the stained glass above the front door, casting fragments of ruby and amber across the porch. The house stands proud against the mountain backdrop, its gingerbread trim and sweeping eaves familiar as my own reflection. I grip the steering wheel until my knuckles blanch white. 3 days since discovering Nyla's wedding plans, 3 days of ignored calls from everyone except Mom, whose voicemails grow increasingly dramatic. Dad's hunched figure appears in the garage doorway. Hector Alvarez, perpetually hiding behind projects. Today it's his 1967 Mustang, the one he's been restoring since I was in high school. He straightens when he spots my car, wiping grease from his hands onto a rag that's seen better days. His eyes darted toward the house, then back to me. He doesn't wave. I kill the engine and step out into the June heat. Dad. Debbie. He nods, retreating deeper into the garage. Your mother's inside. Of course she is. And of course he won't stand beside her for this conversation. Some things never change. The screen door creaks as I enter. The house smells of cinnamon and coffee, Mom's version of emotional armor. She appears in the kitchen doorway, face arranged in careful concern. Deborah. I was just about to call you. Cynthia Alvarez, queen of convenient timing. Coffee? I made your favorite coffee cake. I don't want coffee. I remain standing in the entryway, hands in pockets. I want to know why I wasn't invited to Nyla's wedding. Mom's smile falters, then reforms. Oh, honey, it's complicated. You've been so busy with your career. Don't. The word slices through her excuse. That's not a reason. She busies herself with the coffee pot, buying seconds. Nyla was afraid you might not approve of Travis. You can be. Intimidating. Intimidating? Because I asked questions when she introduced him after 3 weeks of dating? He thinks family is important, Deborah. She sets 2 mugs on the counter with trembling hands. And you've always been so. Independent. The garage door opens. Dad shuffles in, eyes fixed on the hardwood floor. Don't make things harder than they already are, he mutters. Harder for whom? I ask, heat rising in my chest. For Nyla? For Travis? For you two, who's always made excuses for her. Mom's eyes well with practiced tears. That's not fair. Fair? The word explodes from me. Was it fair when I co-signed that business loan for her cafe? $22,000, Mom. That's what I paid back after she abandoned it 9 months later. She had the children to think about, Dad interjects, finally meeting my gaze. After Eric left. Eric left 4 years ago. The cafe fiasco was last year. I step closer to them both. I've been making those payments while she posts vacation photos from Sedona. Single motherhood isn't easy, Mom whispers, and Travis is her second chance. Dad's voice strengthens with this familiar defense. He has a good job in pharmaceutical sales. He can provide stability. So she found her meal ticket, and now I'm embarrassing? The pieces click into a sickening place. Did Travis say he doesn't want me there? Their silence confirms it. He thinks I don't care about my family. I laugh, the sound harsh against the homey kitchen backdrop. That's rich, coming from a man who's known her for 7 months? Please understand. Mom reaches for my arm. This wedding means everything to her. After the cafe. After Eric abandoned her with the children. Emma and Lucas deserve stability, Dad adds. Always the children as shields. 8-year-old Emma and 6-year-old Lucas, wheeled out as justification for every bad decision Nyla makes. And what about me? 8? I ask quietly. What do I deserve after paying her debts? After babysitting every weekend she had a date? After listening to her cry about Eric at 2 in the morning for months? You're stronger, Mom says, as if it's a compliment. You've always been the responsible one. The responsible one. The family ATM. The free therapist. The emergency babysitter. Never the sister worth including. I turned toward the door, suddenly exhausted. The weight of their expectations, their manipulations, feels heavier than the timber beams I installed in the Buchanan house yesterday. Deborah, please. Mom follows me. We're family. Family. I pause at the door. Is that what we are? Dad steps forward. Where are you going? Away from here, I say simply. If Nyla wants a perfect wedding, she can have it without me. I leave them standing in the doorway, faces painted with confusion, as if they can't comprehend that this time I won't absorb the blow. 20 minutes later, I slide into a booth at Copper Kettle, the coffee shop where Jenna works. She spots me and brings over a latte without asking, sliding in opposite me. That bad, huh? Jenna's known me since college. She recognizes the aftermath of family confrontation on my face. Worse. I wrap my hands around the warm mug. Travis doesn't think I care about family. That's why I wasn't invited. Travis, she snorts. The guy who's known your sister for 5 minutes thinks he gets to decide who cares about family? Apparently. Jenna glances around, then pulls out her phone. Speaking of Travis. She slides it across the table. Kelly took these last night at Downtown Lounge. The photos show Travis, arm wrapped around a blonde woman who definitely isn't my sister. They're laughing, heads close together. In the last image, his lips press against her neck. My stomach tightens, not with surprise but with bitter confirmation. When was this taken? Last night, around 11. I push the phone back toward her. And what am I supposed to do with this information? Jenna blinks. Tell your sister? Tell your parents? Stop the wedding before she marries a cheater? The old me would have done exactly that, would have rushed to protect Nyla from herself. Would have absorbed her rage when she inevitably shot the messenger. No. The word feels foreign but right. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Deborah. This time, I'll let the truth expose itself. I sip my cooling latte. I'm not invited to the wedding, remember? It's not my place to interfere. Jenna studies me across the table. This isn't you. Maybe it should be. The realization settles in my chest, not with guilt but with certainty. I've spent my life fixing Nyla's messes. Look where that's gotten me. Excluded from her wedding. Jenna concedes. Exactly. I straighten my shoulders. So let Travis be Travis. Let Nyla make her choices. I'm done being the family safety net. And if she marries him? Then she marries him. The words should hurt more than they do. I can't rescue someone who doesn't want to be saved. For the first time in my life, I don't rush to prevent a disaster heading toward my family. The discomfort of inaction sits heavy in my stomach, but beneath it runs a current of something unfamiliar. Relief. I pour myself a glass of Cabernet and settle into my window seat, the Denver skyline glittering against the night. My phone sits face down on the coffee table, deliberately silent. 3 weeks have passed since I discovered my exclusion from Nyla's wedding, and today is the big day at the Ridgewood estate. The Ridgewood. Even the name drips with old money and exclusivity. According to Jenna's intel, Mom spent weeks arranging white roses and gold accents throughout the historic mansion. 150 guests. Local press covering the union of Travis Reed, prominent engineer, and my sister, the perpetual damsel. I take a slow sip, savoring the wine's complexity. For the 10th time today, I resist the urge to check social media. What good would it do? Instead, I reach for my dog-eared copy of Restoration Ethics in Historical Architecture. Work always centers me. But my phone buzzes, rattling against the wood. Then again, and again. Something in the persistent rhythm sets my teeth on edge. I set my book aside and pick up the phone. 27 notifications, all in the last 4 minutes. My thumb hovers over the screen. Part of me wants to shut it off completely, finish my wine in peace. But an old instinct, that responsible one reflex, makes me swipe. A video fills my screen. Shaky footage from Ridgewood's grand ballroom. White roses everywhere, just as Jenna described. Guests in formal wear clustered against the walls. And in the center, Nyla and Travis. My sister's mascara streaks down her face, her perfect white dress crushed in her fists as she screams something unintelligible. Travis towers over her, his tuxedo jacket unbuttoned, tie askew. His face contorts with rage. You knew I was seeing someone? He shouts, voice cracking through my phone's speaker. You set me up? Nyla lunges forward, shoving his chest. Everyone knew. You weren't exactly discreet. Then it happens. Travis's arm swings out, his open palm connecting with my sister's cheek. The crack echoes through the ballroom. Gasps erupt from the crowd. The camera shakes violently as the person filming reacts. Oh my God, I whisper, fingers pressed against my lips. The video cuts off. I frantically scroll through messages, piecing together the aftermath. Jenna. Deborah. Are you seeing this? Marcus. Holy shit. Just saw the Reed Alvarez disaster on Instagram. Mrs. Henderson next door. Dear. Your family is on the news. Channel 9. I switched to the local news app. There it is. Already breaking. Society wedding ends in assault charges. The footage plays again, this time from a different angle. I catch glimpses of my mother's horrified face in the background, my father attempting to rush forward before being restrained by two other men. The anchor's voice cuts in. Police were called to the prestigious Ridgewood estate this evening after the groom, Travis Reed, allegedly assaulted bride Nyla Alvarez during what witnesses describe as a heated argument about infidelity allegations. I snap the phone off, tossing it onto the cushion beside me. My pulse hammers in my throat. Part of me, a part I'm not proud of, feels a sick vindication. But it's quickly swallowed by genuine concern for Nyla. No matter our differences, watching my sister be struck on what should have been the happiest day of her life twists my stomach. I drain my wine glass, refill it, and wait for what I know will come next. The phone rings at 11:47 p.m. My mother's name flashes on the screen. I let it ring 4 times, composing myself, before answering. Mom. Sobbing erupts from the other end. Deborah. Her voice catches, thin and reedy. Your sister's hurt. Please come. I close my eyes, the words I've said 1,000 times in my life poised on my tongue. I'll be right there. I'll fix it. I'll help. But something stops me. The memory of scrolling through wedding photos I wasn't meant to see. The years of cleaning up Nyla's messes. The money I'm still paying back. I wasn't invited, Mom, I say quietly. Showing up now would only make it worse. Silence stretches between us, so profound I can hear her breathing hitch. But she needs you, Cynthia finally whispers. She always needed you. No, I corrected her gently. She needed Travis. She needed security and status and a fairy tale wedding. What she needed from me was my absence. That's not fair, Deborah. I know. I swirl the wine in my glass, watching it catch the city lights. Neither was excluding me. More silence. I can almost see her face, the calculation behind her eyes, searching for the leverage that always worked before. The guilt, the family responsibility. The Deborah will fix it certainty. I'm sorry about what happened, I add, my voice softer. Truly, no one deserves that. But I'm not the solution this time. The line goes dead without another word. I stare at the phone, feeling something fundamental shift inside me. For the first time in my life, I've refused to rush into a family crisis. The absence of panic surprises me. I sleep better that night than I have in years. The next evening, Jenna arrives with takeout from that Thai place on 17th Street. We eat at my kitchen island, the news muted on the television across the room, occasionally flashing footage from the wedding disaster. You holding up okay? Jenna asks, twirling noodles around her fork. It's wild stuff. Surprisingly well, I admit, though the neighbors keep giving me these sympathetic looks when I get the mail. Mrs. Henderson asked me if you needed anything when I was parking. I laugh. Of course she did. She brought me banana bread this morning. The universal language of crisis comfort. Jenna grins, then grows serious. Your mom call yet? Last night, I didn't go. Jenna's eyebrows shoot up. Seriously? That's new. Long overdue, I correct her. After dinner, Marcus texts to check in. Another unusual development in my normally quiet life. My colleague has become a surprising source of perspective. He understands being the family black sheep. Saw more footage on the news. You okay? He writes. Better than expected. I reply. Good. Some families only value you when they need something fixed. Trust me, I know. His words settle into me like the truth. I'm still thinking about them when a knock sounds at my front door just after 9. Through the peephole, I see my father, soaked from the sudden downpour, standing on my porch without an umbrella. Water streams from his silver hair down his weathered face. He looks 10 years older than when I saw him last. "Deborah," he calls, voice barely audible through the door. "Please, I need to talk to you." I lean my forehead against the cool wood, feeling the vibration of his knocking against my skin. "It's about the house," he adds, desperation cracking in his voice. "The bank is threatening foreclosure." My hand freezes on the doorknob. Foreclosure? My parents have owned that Victorian home for 35 years. Part of me wants to pretend I'm not home, to let him stand in the rain and feel what abandonment tastes like. But his slumped shoulders and rain-soaked appearance pull at something deep and ingrained. With a sigh, I turn the lock and open the door. "You have 10 minutes, I tell him, stepping aside. "And this better not be about Nyla." He steps in, rainwater pooling at his feet, and shakes his head. "It's worse than that," he says, pulling a thick manila envelope from inside his jacket. "Much worse." As I close the door behind him, a chill runs through me that has nothing to do with the rain. While he dries off, I fill the electric kettle. Some conversations require hot beverages. My hands tremble slightly as I pull 2 mugs from the cabinet, anticipating whatever new family crisis he's brought to my doorstep. When he emerges, he looks smaller somehow, diminished. He clutches a manila envelope, wrinkled and damp at the edges. "We've been using your money for something else," he says without preamble. The kettle whistles. I pour hot water over tea bags, buying myself time to process his words. "What money?" "The monthly checks. For the house. 4 years ago, my parents claimed they were struggling with their mortgage. I'd been sending $1,100 every month since then. For the mortgage," I say slowly. "That's what you told me." "Not exactly." He slides the envelope across my dining table. "It was for a loan. A home equity line of credit." I open the envelope, spreading the contents across the polished wood. Bank statements, loan documents, notices of pending foreclosure proceedings. My eyes catch the loan amount, $195,000. "You took out a HELOC?" He nods, eyes fixed on his hands. "For Nyla. After Eric left, the kids needed stability." I scan the paperwork, blood turning cold as I spot the co-signers, Cynthia Alvarez and Nyla Alvarez. "Dad, Nyla hasn't lived in that house for years. How could she co-sign?" "Your mother." He stops, swallows hard. "She told the bank Nyla was living with us." Understanding crashes down. So the money I've been sending was going toward the HELOC payments, not the original mortgage. I grab a calculator from my desk drawer, punching numbers with trembling fingers. 4 years, 12 months, $1,100 each month. $82,000. My voice sounds distant, as if someone else is speaking. "You've taken $82,000 from me under false pretenses." "Deborah, where did the money go?" I demand, slapping my palm against the table. A mug jumps, spilling tea across the statements. Neither of us moves to clean it up. Nyla's debts, the legal fees after Eric left, the down payment on her house. Travis had requirements about where they would live. I laugh, a harsh sound that surprises even me. Travis, the man who hit her at their wedding, that's who got my money? Dad doesn't answer, which is answer enough. I stand, moving to my office with mechanical precision, return with my phone and digital camera. Begin photographing every document. "What are you doing?" he asks. "Documenting fraud." The camera shutter clicks with satisfying finality. Bank fraud, specifically, falsifying residents' information on a loan application. "You can't." I absolutely can. I continue photographing, hands steady now. And I will. "It would destroy your mother. Nyla's kids." "Don't." I hold up one hand. "Don't you dare put this on me. I'm not the one who lied. I'm not the one who stole." His face crumples. "We never meant." "Yes, you did." I set the camera down, meeting his eyes directly. "You meant every bit of it. You just never expected to get caught." My phone buzzes. A text from Marcus, my colleague. "Bank contact info coming your way. My cousin's in mortgage fraud investigations." "How much is left on the HELOC?" I ask. "About 70,000. Dad rubs his face. "The foreclosure notice came yesterday. They're calling the entire balance due." I resume photographing, capturing every signature, every false statement. Dad watches in silence, the magnitude of what they've done finally sinking in. Why now? I ask finally. Why tell me after all this time? Your mother thought we could refinance, but no bank will touch us after the wedding fiasco hit the news. He hesitates. And I couldn't live with it anymore. Not after you were excluded from the wedding. Not after everything. My phone rings. I answer without checking the caller ID. Jenna's voice fills the line. Heads up. The next day, I stand in the center of my living room, surveying my preparations with the meticulous eye I normally reserve for historic building inspections. The large oak dining table, a restoration project I salvaged from an 1,882 farmhouse, dominates the space. Its surface tells a story of betrayal through carefully arranged papers, photographs, and bank statements. A knock at the door announces Aunt Rosa's arrival. I chose her carefully, Dad's sister, the only family member who never played favorites. You look tired, mija, she says, stepping inside. Her silver-streaked hair frames concerned eyes. Not tired, ready. I adjust a stack of bank statements. Thank you for being here. She squeezes my hand. Family should tell the truth, not pretty lies. The doorbell rings again. My stomach clenches as I check my watch. They're 15 minutes early. A power move. Classic Cynthia. I'll make coffee, Rosa offers, retreating to the kitchen. I open the door to find them huddled on my porch. Mom's face wears a mask of injured dignity. Dad studies his shoes. Nyla stands slightly behind them, arms wrapped protectively around her middle. Come in. My voice sounds foreign to my ears, steady, unruffled. They file past me like solemn funeral attendees. No one speaks as they settle around my dining table. Nyla gasps quietly when she notices the papers. Dad's shoulders sag further. Mom's lips pinch into a bloodless line. Aunt Rosa brings coffee nobody touches. I remain standing. The silence stretches until Mom shifts in her chair. What is all this drama for, Deborah? If you need help with your finances. Stop. The word slices through her deflection. For once in your life, just stop talking and listen. I slide a document toward her. This is the home equity line of credit you took out 4 years ago. $195,000. With Nyla listed as co-signer, claiming she lived at the property. Dad's eyes close briefly. This, I continue, pushing forward another document, is the rental agreement I signed when I moved out 12 years ago. The one that specifically forbids you from using my financial information or claiming I live there. I tap a stack of bank statements, and these show the money transfers. $1,100 monthly from my account to yours, totaling $82,000 over 4 years. Nyla's face drains of color. Mom? What is she talking about? Our mother told me the house needed repairs, I explained, never taking my eyes off Cynthia. A new roof. Foundation work. That she and Dad were struggling to keep up with expenses in retirement. She asked for help. I agreed to send what I could each month. My fingers tremble slightly as I lay out the photographs. These are pictures from the bank lobby security camera. Mom depositing my checks directly into the HELOC payment account. Cynthia's chin lifts. I only did what I had to do to keep a roof over the kids' heads. You kept that roof with my money and my trust. The fury pulses behind my eyes, yet my voice remains level. The same money I earned working 60-hour weeks while repaying Nyla's failed cafe loan. Nyla's mouth drops open. Cafe loan? But you said that was a refinance. Your sister co-signed for your business, Aunt Rosa interjects quietly. When it failed, she paid back every penny. Dad finally speaks, voice rough with shame. Debbie, we never meant for it to go this far. Don't. I raise my hand. Intentions don't erase fraud. Fraud? Cynthia sputters. We're family. Family doesn't steal from each other, I counter. The family doesn't forge signatures on loan documents. Nyla stares at the papers, hands shaking. I didn't know, Deborah. Mom just said it was a refinance, that you approved everything. I believe her. Nyla was always the golden child, but never the mastermind. Cynthia sniffs. Well, what do you want? To send your parents to jail? To make your sister homeless with 2 children? Dad's head snaps up. That's enough, Sin. The sharpness in his tone startles us all. In 40 years of marriage, I've never heard him speak to her that way. Debbie has every right to be furious. His weathered hands spread flat on the table. If you want the house, we'll sign it over. The side lot can be sold to repay what we took. Cynthia falls silent, hands twisting in her lap. I look at my father, really look at him. The proud carpenter who taught me to restore instead of replace, to find value in damaged things. His eyes hold a mixture of shame and relief, the weight of secrets finally lifting. I don't want your house, I say. I just want this to end. Aunt Rosa takes a notebook from her purse. I've spoken with a friend at First American Title. We can do a quitclaim deed for the side lot today, transfer it directly to Deborah. We could sell it, Dad says. The Miller boy next door has been asking about it for years. I want to expand his garden. 2. Fine. My mother's voice is clipped. I don't need an apology, I tell them, surprised to discover it's true. I just need peace. The room falls quiet again, but the quality of silence has changed. No longer tense with unspoken accusations, but heavy with truth finally acknowledged. 2 weeks later, we met at a title company downtown. The attorney explains the documents with professional detachment. Dad signs first, then Mom. The pen hovers in her hand for a moment before she scrawls her name. I don't make speeches about forgiveness. I don't hurl accusations. I simply sign where indicated and accept copies of the paperwork. As we stand to leave, Dad touches my arm. I'm sorry, Debbie, his voice catches, for everything. I nod once, unable to find words that won't crack open my carefully maintained composure. Outside on the sidewalk, Nyla approaches hesitantly. I'll pay you back, she promises. Every cent. Take care of your kids, I tell her. Stand on your own feet. She nods, tears spilling. I will. I drive home alone, windows down, autumn air whipping through the car. My phone rings, Jenna checking in. It's done, I tell her. How do you feel? I consider the question. The anger still burns, but differently now. Not the hot flash of betrayal, but something controlled, useful. The kind of fire that forges rather than destroys. Like I've finally stopped carrying other people's weight. 3 days later, a certified check arrives from the sale of the side lot. I study the numbers, calculating what it will and won't cover what I've lost. Not everything, not nearly enough. But as I fold the check into my wallet, I realize I've gained something worth more. The power of truth, the strength of boundaries. The freedom of no longer being responsible for everyone else's happiness. For the first time in 35 years, the only life I have to fix is my own. Morning light spills across my kitchen counter in the gun-barrel home I've restored over the past year. The 3-bedroom ranch house sits on a corner lot with a view of the flatirons that still takes my breath away. I trace my finger along the freshly sanded oak countertop, remembering the splinters that once made it dangerous to touch. My phone vibrates against the granite island. I glance down, expecting another message from Balance Forward about tomorrow's financial abuse workshop. Instead, Nyla's name appears on my screen. Thank you for letting me make things right. The kids miss you. 1. I set down my coffee mug, feeling neither the sharp sting of anger nor the heavy weight of obligation that once accompanied her name, just calm awareness. Through mutual friends, I've heard snippets of Nyla's new life. 3 jobs, no handouts. Standing on her own feet for perhaps the first time since high school. Emma walks herself to school now. Lucas joined Little League without anyone forcing him. I type my response carefully. I'm free Saturday afternoon if you'd like to bring them by. Her reply comes instantly. Just me first. We need to talk. I added a condition without apology. 2 o'clock, I have plans at 4. The boundaries feel natural now, not selfish. Saturday arrives with a gentle rain that patters against the living room windows. When Nyla's compact sedan pulls into the driveway, I notice the missing hubcap, the small dent in the passenger door. No more luxury cars purchased with other people's credit. She stands on my porch, clutching a small wooden box, her knuckles white. Rain droplets cling to her hair, which hangs straight and uncolored for the first time since she was 12. You look different, I say, stepping aside to let her in. 3 jobs will do that. She attempts a smile, but her voice lacks the practiced charm she once wielded like a weapon. No time for highlights when you're cleaning office buildings at night. I lead her to the kitchen, where 2 mugs of tea steam on the island. No wine. No illusions of false intimacy. This is for you. She places the wooden box between us. Dad found it when they were clearing out the Victorian. I lift the hinged lid. Inside rests our grandfather's pocket watch, its gold case tarnished with age. The one meaningful heirloom neither of us received when he died. The one thing I'd wanted. How did you know? I ask, lifting it carefully. You mentioned it once, when we were teenagers. She watches as I wind it gently. The mechanism clicks, then begins to tick with surprising strength for something so long forgotten. Maybe time doesn't erase mistakes, I say, but it teaches you when to stop repeating them. We sit in silence as rain taps against the windows. Not uncomfortable, not forced, just two adults acknowledging truths too long buried. What did you do with the money? She finally asks. From the land sale? I meet her gaze directly. I didn't keep it, Mom said. I opened accounts for Emma and Lucas, college funds. Her eyes widened. After everything we did? After... I'm done rescuing adults, I say, feeling the rightness of these words. But kids, they still deserve a chance. When she leaves an hour later, we don't hug. We don't make promises about holiday gatherings or shared vacations. But something has shifted, like a bone finally set properly after years of painful misalignment. That evening, I sat alone on my porch swing, watching sunset paint the mountains gold. My journal rests open on my lap. Today's entry simple but complete. The softest revenge is peace and quiet. No bitterness curls through my chest as I write these words. No burning need to make things even. Just calm certainty that I've found my way back to myself. In that stillness, I finally feel free.